This is City Paper Live, Pittsburgh City Paper's weekly talk show, where we bring you behind-the-scenes stories from our weekly and online coverage, featuring City Paper writers, friends, and guests. Welcome to the show.
There is a town. Are we live?
Are we live?
Hello, everyone.
CB
Angel
live.
just came in. We're just arguing about NASCAR randomly.
In medias res. So Ryan claims that NASCAR was never America's sport.
Yeah,
it was, but for like a hot second.
Nope.
I grew up around.
No.
My dad was a NASCAR fan. My
you
uncle
grew up in rural central Pennsylvania.
rural. No, because it was huge, and then they charged too much.
It was
Jeff
definitely
Gordon was
never
huge.
America's sport.
Thank you.
It was,
Thank you,
but
Josh.
for like a minute.
No.
And then they charged too much for their tickets.
It's
Why
always
are you
been
arguing
bigger.
with me about this? You weren't a NASCAR fan, so and it was back when I was in like middle school.
No, my cousins actually did the like sprint racing around the track. That's like the precursor to try to get into NASCAR. So no, I understand, but it's just
But
not
I'm just
that
saying
popular.
the reason you don't remember it was because it was back when I was in middle school.
Right.
So you would have been like a literal child. Like
How much older? How old are you right now?
I'm 37.
Okay, so you're 4 years older than me.
Yeah, so you would have been in elementary school, and
Yeah.
you wouldn't at the
Definitely
time.
don't have any memories from then.
I'm
Clearly.
just saying you wouldn't.
I am
remember.
older than Amanda, and I do not recall
You're lying.
NASCAR being America's sport.
Welcome to CP Live.
Central PA is not America,
Well, no, it
or
is.
all of
No,
America.
it is. Everyone knows that.
But that's not how you can define America's sport, is what I'm saying.
I love when you guys tell me
Central PA.
mansplain NASCAR to me. All right.
No. We're just disagreeing about what America's sport is.
Yes.
We're not getting into what exactly NASCAR is.
So you agreed with me earlier that boxing at one time was America's sport.
Definitely
That
was.
horse racing at one time was America's sport.
Definitely.
That baseball at one time was America's sport.
Right.
But NASCAR, absolutely not. Just because it wasn't America's sport for very long doesn't
My
mean
issue
it
is the
wasn't.
term.
If you're
The term
arguing-
America's sport, I think, came after these things
Because
you were
Jeff
claiming
Gordon
to be
was so
America's
huge.
sports.
Yeah.
Jeff Gordon was so
from
huge.
California.
And oh, is he really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
One of
know
ours.
that.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's why people hated him.
One of
That's why
ours.
people hated him so much. And
Well, also 'cause he was a
and
pretty
it's the same
boy.
with Jimmy Johnson. It's the same because they're from California. There's like, oh, you're not one of us. You know.
Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because
Or
like
whatever his name is. It's not Jimmy Johnson.
oh,
is
there
it?
were girls in my middle school who had like pictures of Jeff Gordon. It was like he was like a heartthrob.
Right. He's a handsome man. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, wait.
Little too all American for me.
But he's from California, so he's a liberal scum. You know. So.
Is he?
No, I don't.
I know there are.
I have no idea.
I know there are parts of California that are
obviously
not
Ronald Reagan
liberal.
is from California. So was
I was about to
Nixon.
say.
So your argument though is that NASCAR was in the 90s, right? That's what you're saying. In the mid 90s, had a very short period of being America's sport.
there were
absolutely not. Football has definitely been America's sport since the 90s.
I'm not saying.
or probably since the 80s.
I'm just saying it fizzled out very quickly. But there were
It
like
never eclipsed football. There is no way that you could argue
yeah,
that
but
it
football
ever
was never
eclipsed
like.
football.
Football for a long time
Your
was
argument
not.
is falling like a house of cards. Okay.
Wait, when did this become NASCAR versus football?
No,
I'm
you
just
were saying
saying.
it's America's sport. It can't.
It was
It can't eclipse America's sport that already exists.
Oh my God, Ryan. Okay. I'm not saying it is now.
Right.
It was for literally a minute. And then NASCAR charged too much to go to races. And all the people who were able to afford it before were like, well, ding, dang, dong. I'm not going to this anymore.
I will agree with you that NASCAR.
There's a whole book about it. I've
peaked
read
in
it.
popularity, and it
Yeah, it
became
peaked.
one of America's most popular sports, but it was never America's sport.
For like a hot second it was. You
Makes no
don't
sense.
remember
This
it
makes no
because you were a child and
Because
you were
it
too
lasted-
concerned with
because it lasted
childish
for
things.
a literal second.
It lasted for a little second. I'm not disagreeing with you on that. Okay. Anyway, so welcome to CP Live.
Yeah.
That was the dumbest intro
Always.
ever to anything.
This is fucking gold. We should get a Peabody Award for this shit. You know.
How come we're not commentating on sports?
Right.
I know nothing about them. I grew up in a road.
Neither do the people that comment on sports.
I grew up in a rodeo family. I know literally nothing about any sport. Anyway, so what are we talking about today, Ryan? We got a few things. Oh, by the way, I'm Amanda Waltz, senior arts and entertainment writer at the City Paper.
I'm Ryan Big Barge Dito.
Yeah. Barge Watch 2020.
Watch. I'm a writer at the city paper. Blah blah blah.
You are?
Yes.
Awesome. So we got a couple things we're gonna talk about today. First, we're gonna tease our winter guide.
Yeah.
Just came out. It's great. Abby Adams.
Yeah, we always have the best illustrations.
Just
so good.
Just seriously, just so cute.
Yeah.
It can't get any cuter than this.
Right.
Honestly.
And if you're looking for shit to do.
Oh my god.
Free
in the
stuff.
doldrums.
Yeah. You know, you got SAD, you got SAD. You know.
Yeah.
You're looking for some
of
ice
us do.
skating, some
Ice skating.
Obviously, plenty of other movies, cultural events.
So many things.
Everything.
So many things to do and see. It's all here, all in this guide. Also,
it's one of those things too. That's it's just great to pick up and not read this one and throw it in the recycling. Just keep it around because
just
you're
keep it
gonna
around.
have oh crap, I don't know what to do this Sunday.
Yeah, and of
maybe
course,
it's post Super Bowl, you don't know what to do, right? We
and this of course is online, so you can look it up at the website. And I'm trying to find
pghcitypaper.com.
Sorry, I'm distracted because I'm trying to find my story. Because one of the things that we have in here is the huge Teenie Harris exhibit at the Carnegie Museum of Art. So this is huge. Both in scale and just in importance because Charles Teenie Harris, icon of Pittsburgh.
Icon.
Amazing. Took so many photos and just documenting life in Pittsburgh, especially Black life in Pittsburgh. Right. Just great artistically, historically. So finally, the Carnegie Museum of Art had acquired his collection years ago, around 2001, and over the years they've been scanning it, they've been digitizing it, they've been cataloging it, and every once in a while they'll have, an exhibit but this is the first time that most of his photos
are
all in one place.
Yeah.
He has around I don't know. I heard differing things. One thing said 70,000. Another said 80,000.
Wow.
So I want to say between 70 and 80,000. Yeah. This exhibit. So obviously they can't fit 70,000 photos in a gallery, but this is a permanent dedicated gallery to Teenie Harris.
Too many photos to look at.
It's too many photos.
Yeah. Got to rotate them.
But what they did is they partnered up with Carnegie Mellon University has the Frank Ratchey Studio for Creative Inquiry.
Okay.
They teamed up with them and they created a touch screen where you can see, I think it's around 36 photos that are physically in the gallery if you go to the museum. There's 3 touch screens. There's a main one and there's 2 smaller ones on iPads where you can access over 60,000 photos of his. You can search them. You all right? You can search them. You can zoom in on them. They're super high resolution. It's really fun to play with just in general. I went there. I spent a couple hours playing with it with a friend of mine who actually works at the studio.
Okay.
It's incredible. I'm just going to say that I think
I've only ever seen some of Teenie Harris photos just around town. I know there's some in the Ace Hotel and there's at some exhibits, whenever there's traveling around.
Yeah, there's some really famous ones the Boxing Boy and stuff like that.
So great because they just remind you of, Pittsburghers are nostalgic, Pittsburghers are nostalgic.
What?
Yeah, and so it's really great to see what life was like back then, and especially because the Black community there was a renaissance in Pittsburgh, right?
The
Hill
yes.
was
Hill
known
District
for this great Black community. And
culturally huge jazz hub,
right? Huge, and then East Liberty as well. It was so big that it just spread even beyond just the Hill, and it's really great to look back and think of what it once was, and hopefully one day what it can be again. It's not impossible. Is basically there's so many people who are so pessimistic about that kind of thing, and there's such a good reminder that you don't have to be pessimistic.
Well, what the crazy thing about this too is that I was having my friend explain this to me, the touchscreen. As he was explaining the touchscreen to me, this woman came up. She was a security guard at Carnegie Mellon, or at the art museum, and she said, "Oh, could you show me how this works?" Because no one ever showed her.
Yeah.
And she's tons and tons of patrons come up to me and they want to know how it works. So as he started playing with it, he was showing how one of the ways they're using this is to identify people and places in the photos, because Teenie Harris, I mean, he just took so many photos and they're not labeled really.
Oh, got it.
So they're not labeled. And so they're trying to find out who these people are.
Oh, really interesting. Yeah.
And so as he was going in and like touching photos and zooming, and he's like, okay, here's this guy. And like, we can go across the collection and see if he's in other photos. And she was like, I know him.
Oh, wow.
So the security guard was like, I know him. He's this pastor that was at my church. And he was like, oh, you need to get in touch with the curators of this exhibit right now.
So it's like people should go. Everyone should go to this, because who knows? Maybe you can identify somebody.
Absolutely.
And then you can make this even a better
I
documentation.
would say, even especially if you have older relatives who have lived in Pittsburgh, you know, their entire lives, take them to this exhibit, have them go to the touchscreen and go through the photos, and just see if they know someone. Because I mean, it is.
That's really cool.
And it's also just really fun. They designed it in a way so it's not hard on the eyes. You know, it's not like when when you're staring at a regular computer.
Yeah.
It's beautifully done. I mean, there's so many things about it that are enjoyable. And also it's just amazing. And it's really a long time coming, I think, just in terms of, you know, honoring the legacy of Teenie Harris. So that's one of the things you can do this winter.
Yeah. Do you know what I just thought of?
What's that?
Sometimes when we're on this podcast, we sound like we're on like QVC.
QVC?
And not in a bad way.
Is it because I'm talking so fast?
No, it's just like I just got that, like it just came to me. I'm like, oh man.
Where I'm like, look at this beautiful.
Look at this.
Do you see that? Do you see that? It's beautiful. Oh my God. I ordered 10 of these for my daughter.
They always say that. They're lying, right? I mean,
like the people who call
right?
in always say that. They're like, I ordered one for myself and my daughter and my granddaughter. We all love it. We all went to Disney World together.
Okay.
I've never watched QVC. But yeah, so that's one thing you can do in the Winter Guide. And there's tons of other stuff, of course. But yeah. What else are we talking about, Ryan?
What's on the list here?
We have dating.
Yeah, online dating.
The online dating.
Can you explain why we want to talk about online dating?
We want to talk about online dating, and I really need to get some freaking
get some bookmarks on this
some
thing.
bookmarks or something. So basically, we have
CP Live watching Amanda flip
guys,
through the whole issue.
Guys, listen. We're idiots. I'm just shocked Lisa still lets us do this. So basically, we have Valentine's Day is coming up. Ryan, did you know that?
Oh, big day.
Big day. Not really.
February 14th.
Not at all.
Right? I don't know.
So we have.
Yeah, the 14th.
We want your online dating stories.
Yeah.
The good ones.
Yeah.
The bad ones.
Yep.
The worst ones.
Yeah. The mediocre ones.
Bring ones.
Bring them on.
So here it is. This is just. It's not even a contest. It's just we just want to hear from you.
We think it'll be fun to document online dating stories. Online dating is now the biggest way that people meet.
Yeah.
In terms of relationships, it eclipsed like friendships. Like mutual friends. I think a couple years ago, according to some polling. So it's the real deal, and we wanna hear all of your stories and.
Yeah, and I mean, what's dating like in Pittsburgh? I hear it's kind of bleak.
I hear that too, but I don't know because both of us have been in relationships for a very long time.
So we'll get to that, but first I want to say we discovered this morning that the email we were having people send their stories to is not working. So if you want to send us a story, you need to send it to our editor-in-chief, Lisa Cunningham. I'll give you the email, but... you can also just look it up online.
Yeah, it's just lcunning@pghcitypaper.com.
Yeah, lcunning, CUNNING, at pghcitypaper.com. Hold the ham.
Hold the ham. Lisa hates ham, too, I think.
She's holding the ham.
Cunning.
She wants to be known as cunning, and she also hates ham.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Ryan and I, like he just said, we don't have a lot of expertise in this arena.
I have not done any online dating. I've been with my girlfriend, partner, whatever you want to call her, for 8.
Whatever you want to call her.
9
what
years.
Do you call her, Ryan?
Stephanie.
Victim.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hello. Amanda, you are wed.
I'm married. Sorry, guys and ladies.
So,
everyone.
Taken.
Sorry, everyone. But no. So Don't you dare. Josh.
Don't
you dare.
Do it.
Don't you dare.
You got
It already happened. You guys don't have your headphones on.
You
damn.
jerk.
Oh, good.
All right.
Okay, sorry.
Anyway, I'm never wearing my headphones. I don't care what I miss.
Yeah, I look stupid in them.
So, yeah, I've been with my husband for over 10 years. We were dating for 7 before we got married. Before that, I was a serial monogamist. I never... I say this. I try to have a casual dalliance with a man.
Yeah.
And ended up being like a 9-month relationship. I can't do it. I just couldn't do it.
I had a one-night stand one time, and it was just like, I just felt like shit the next day. I felt really bad.
Not to say that like that's a bad thing, obviously.
Yeah.
I like literally cannot do it. Like I tried to do it and like he wouldn't leave.
We're together now, I guess.
I was
your
just
guts,
like,
but...
you can go home. And he was like, nope, don't want to. And I was like, all right, well, you want to order some pizza?
Yeah.
So yeah, but I will say probably the closest I ever got to online dating was I was at Crazy Mocha in Bloomfield.
Oh.
Boo-boo, yeah.
Decent Crazy Mocha.
That's fun.
Cremo.
It was my hangout when I lived in Bloomfield.
Yeah.
You know, hanging out with all the punks.
Yeah, it is a punk spot.
It's a good punk spot.
Yeah.
But this is when they still had the Dreaming Ant video store. Do you remember this at all?
No.
Okay, so...
I've only lived in Bloomfield for 4 years, I think.
Okay, so this is definitely before you lived there. So they used to have a video place in the back of Crazy Mocha.
Oh, sweet.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
So you could be sitting at a table in Crazy Mocha, but there would be like videos right next to you.
Okay.
And people would be, looking through them.
Yeah.
And there was this really hot dude that was looking at videos, and I was just like, oh my God, he's right there. But I was like busy, and I was also just like, well, I don't want to just like go up to him and be like, hey, you're really cute. You want to hang out? So I did a misconnection on Craigslist.
Nice.
And the one thing I think he was wearing some kind of like polar, like a North Face jacket type thing.
Oh, yeah.
He had the most gorgeous nose I've ever seen in a man.
Gorge nose.
He had a gorge nose. And so I just wrote, I was just like, saw you in Crazy Mocha in Bloomfield. You were wearing a blah, blah, blah. And like, so I wrote it and I sent it. And
Where was it printed?
Just some misconnections and Craigslist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Craigslist. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
online,
I did
online, I should say.
Online.
On the World Wide Web.
On the Craigslist. So I put it out there. I got a response. It was my friend Mark.
Oh, a prank.
No, he did think it was for him.
Oh, no.
Because I didn't say that. I didn't say it was me, obviously, because you don't do that.
What did he say?
He came back and he was like, I was in Crazy Mocha that day, and am I the person that you're looking for? And I was like, Mark. It's
That's
me.
great.
And we were both like, LOL, what's up?
Oh, that's great.
So that's
great.
I think that's the only time I've done online dating. But I have a lot of friends who still online date.
Yeah.
And I hear a lot of stories.
I also have not online dated, but I will. I have a I think it's like embarrassing. It's not super embarrassing story in the I started college in 2005.
I graduated from college in 2005.
So this, well, we did establish earlier that you are 4 years older than me, so that's good.
Let's keep establishing how old we are.
And this was at the start of Facebook, basically.
Yeah.
I was.
I remember that.
I was like not the inaugural class, because when Facebook just started, it was literally only for like Harvard, Yale, some other school in Stanford or something.
Yeah,
it was only for like 4 schools.
It had just come to Pitt.
And then a year after, it expanded to a bunch of other universities.
Yeah.
And I attended the University of California in Irvine, which is in Orange
Good school.
County. Yeah, sure, whatever.
It deserves a Facebook.
The Anteaters.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so cute.
That was so good. Zot, baby. Anyway, so Facebook was brand new, basically, to most of the country.
Yeah, it was.
And so it was so weird back then. I don't know if everyone remembers how weird it was. It was just like people would like lie about their status. They would say they're like married to their friends. They would just like, it was mostly just about like posting pictures from parties. There weren't like a lot of like status update. You didn't really like update anything. There were no links to anything,
I think it was like school. like clubs you belong to,
exactly.
stuff like
that.
that.
Yeah, so many clubs, so many like listing what your like
So many clubs.
you know, preference of movies are. That's like what
Yes!
was huge. It was like, oh, I love these movies. Do other people also like these movies?
Do you like Fight Club?
Right. So it was really just like the start of like identity politics on crack, you know? Because
Yes.
you could basically just like say what. Either way, so that was it. And so I was a loser in college. Shock.
What?
But I lived at home. But it was weird. So I grew up in the Bay Area, and then my family moved to Orange County when I went to college. So,
okay.
Yeah, they just like that was when I have a conspiracy theory and like trying to follow me and shit. But like, but
wait, how far was Orange County from Irvine?
It's in Orange County.
Oh, it's in Orange County.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know California geography.
It's a 30 to 40 minute drive.
Oh yeah, your parents were definitely following you.
Yeah. But they still live there now, so it's
Okay.
not like they left. But yeah, and so I was a commuter kid, but I also didn't know anybody in the new town that I moved to. So I was a total loser.
Ooh.
And so I didn't really make a lot of friends in college. I have like 3 that I can probably count, and I don't even talk to them anymore. And whatever. So, but I joined Facebook. It was super lame. I had my mom take like my profile picture of me, like sitting in a chair, you know? And then eventually I was just browsing. I saw this like girl that I was like attracted to, who was like in a class of mine or something like that. So I sent her like a really weird message that was like, hey, I think you're cool, and here's me and all this stuff, and I got no response.
Did you see this cool profile pic my mom took of me?
Oh, it was like I deleted that Facebook page a long time ago, and I just started a new one because I was like, I don't care about my high school friends and stuff like that. And God, hopefully, I don't ever.
I'm sure she doesn't even remember. I'm
No,
sure she doesn't
remember.
remember.
But I don't want anyone else to ever find it somehow. You know?
Go in the Wayback Machine.
Yeah, because it was like. Oh my God.
You know
like, it would be mortifying for me if that ever came to light. I just want to say that.
So I actually was a very late Facebook adopter.
Yeah.
Because I was on MySpace.
Oh, cool.
So I was on MySpace.
Yeah, pre-Facebook.
Pre-Facebook. And I remember this is actually when I interned for the city paper.
Oh.
So I had my MySpace when I interned for the city paper. And like I was on it and stuff. But I got a message from this guy that I dated in high school.
Okay.
And he was just like, and I hadn't seen him in, years, at least 5 years. And he said, I saw you were on Facebook. He's like, I just want to tell you, I still think about you every day and all this stuff. And I was just like, delete. Ooh, God.
Wow,
Let me tell you.
There's sometimes like those like social media is such a weird thing because like you get those because I think I've gotten one of those too where it was like, oh, hey, thinking about you, like from some person in high school that I
like somebody poked you.
Yeah, and
on
like,
Facebook.
Like, who the fuck are you? Like, I haven't talked to you in 8 years. Like, I don't, whatever. But
yeah.
Josh, do you have any online dating personal?
Did you
stories?
online date?
Are you also a?
I feel like you've been with your spouse for a while.
No, here's my only. The closest I ever came was like post college. I went to school in Ohio, so I moved back here, and I still knew a decent amount of people, but like anybody I knew was like a high school person that probably like was with their high school sweetheart or whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And things weren't
Where'd you go
super
to high
great.
school?
Bethel Park High School, Rick Seaback town.
Oh.
And so I think I signed up. Like I did a free trial. I didn't want to commit. I didn't have the money. I was working at FedEx loading trucks.
Nice.
3 a.m. to 9 a.m.
Oh,
like a gentleman. Yeah, it was brutal.
I
I had a job like that. It sucks.
Neville Island. And so it's like I had no money, but I was like, I got to do something here. I got to roll the dice. I got to try something.
Got to roll them.
But the thing about Pittsburgh, I think, is like. Now this was 2003. I'm thinking specifically is like.
Okay.
There was not room for people like me, and I will lump us. People curious about real things. It was like you had to look a certain way to approach anybody. I'm talking like hitting like a South Side bar, which probably still holds somewhat true.
I see.
I would hold zero, no matter how prime my physique was at any time. Let's say I was my best, my best looking.
So you were a Pittsburgh 7.
Oh no, I don't even know if I could. I don't know if I was pushing 7s.
Not to rate people like that.
Yeah.
I'm just joking.
So
So
I
the
was like,
scene
yeah.
was a lot harder.
Yeah,
because-
it was like I
Yeah.
can't talk to that person wants to. I can't just approach. Then I moved to
Yeah.
New York and I was like, I can talk to anybody, and they talk back to me. It's amazing.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
okay.
It
More
was weird.
diversity then.
Yeah. So then, I was actually interesting there. So I signed up for like Match or something, or the free trial.
Okay.
Ooh, like an early match.
Yeah.
Was
So
Plenty
because
of
that's all
Fish
that was around. There were no
Match.com.
obviously there's
Match.com.
we were appless,
Yeah.
because we even have the phones.
Remember when there were no apps?
But I didn't have the features to like pursue. I think as the free trial, I had to be pursued.
Oh.
You have to be chosen if you're not going to pay.
Yeah.
And so that was
Really?
just
Real
depressing
hot,
as
yeah.
hell.
So
It was
like Bumble? Was it like a woman had to come to you and be like,
I'm
like
guessing.
This,
I just know
free
that
guy.
Or man.
my
Or man.
abilities,
Yeah, true.
my
I don't know
abilities
what
for
his
free.
profile
Straight.
said. I don't know what his profile said.
23, I was a young boy. I did not have all the services that a paying user would have.
Right.
So that was my foray and
That's
my
it.
end.
Okay.
And
You just dipped a little toe in.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I had a friend though,
Maybe
I was
away.
mentioning on Slack in New York, who just like swore by Friendster. He would like, but what he would do is like meet people at bars and then be like, "Do you have Friendster?" And then like parlay that
So
Friendster
Explain to
relationship
me how
into.
Friendster works, 'cause I don't know how.
Oh,
Friendster
I mean, it was
works.
MySpace.
Oh,
It was
okay,
basically
okay,
MySpace.
okay.
It was the same
Yeah,
thing.
It was like
Oh, got it. Okay.
I think it was a cooler MySpace
Okay.
actually.
I never heard of it.
I don't think I used it. I think it was like not cool just when I was starting to get into like social media.
Yeah,
And
this
so it
would
was
have been
like, MySpace is
05,
a cool thing now.
05, 06 ish,
Yeah.
Wait,
right
okay.
on the
Okay.
impetus of MySpace.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, he
Good
parlayed.
stuff.
He parlayed. That's my second parlay usage.
Parlayed.
I'm getting ready for
The
Super Bowl
betting.
betting. Holla.
Parlay is going.
Um,
How can you parlay when it's only like one game?
What if you could parlay into prop bets? Like the length,
I don't know enough about betting.
the length of the anthem, et cetera,
Who's singing
along with the
anthem
winner.
this year? Do we know?
That's a good question.
Do you want to just go into talking about the Super Bowl? Because I know you two want to talk about the Super Bowl.
No.
I'm good. I feel like I got everything out I need to get out about
Go
it.
Niners,
So just one
obviously.
big Friendster orgy is what you're saying.
For him, yeah, he was
Okay.
a pro. I mean, he also had in public skills, so you had to first initiate. Then it was like then he would follow up on Friendster. That's where all the magic happened. Do you have Friendster? Yeah, let me get it.
But it's still kind of brave though, because you still have to go up.
Yeah.
And then you get
Yeah.
to make it more comfortable by saying, "Oh, I'm just going to be a little bit more
Assertive.
less
Like,
aggressive
if you
just
want.
on social media."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's true.
It was a cool strategy.
pretty good
It was a
strategy.
multi-pronged strategy,
That's pretty
and it
smart.
paid dividends.
Right. My strategy was like try to go talk sweating. Like I'm also a stutterer, so I would like stutter even more because I was so
Oh,
nervous.
jeez.
And just like try to say something, and then like just come up the most
Spill a
awkward.
drink.
Yeah, just like super awkward. Like don't know how to do it. I joked that the only reason I was able to convince Steph to date me was because we actually lived together for a short time because her friend was my friend. And
Okay.
and so I was like super comfortable because I was just like at home, you know.
Because
true.
my
Yeah.
friends are your friends,
know,
and your
and
friends
so,
are my friends.
And actually, one of my close friends who got together at the same time and just got married to his now wife, they met the same exact way. They were like roommates, and we were both like
Oh,
very similar,
cute.
awkward
Okay.
losers. And so
Well, it's like I'm also very awkward talking to people. And so basically what I did, I would just go to Belvedere's, get drunk, and make out with a dude, and then never talk to him again.
That's all you need. What's going on back here?
Some silhouettes back there, and
Do a little shimmy.
Puppet show. What's going on?
Oh, no, it's just actually something.
It's the Ghost.
That looked really weird.
Yeah, it looked weird.
Yeah. So, we're not exciting online dating people.
Right.
So, those of you who are though, who
Yeah.
have experience and who have stories to
Tell you what, mid-aughts, late-aughts New York City probably still was a meat market. You could just go anywhere.
just let us know what's
yeah?
up.
Yeah, men, women, etceteras. You just people
The
are just more
golden
receptive.
era. Yeah, the golden era.
Yeah.
I see that.
Well, because it was before,
And at that
it
age,
was,
you could be like, you had your first. I
it
had my
was before
first
social
job,
media really took off, right?
so I could be like,
Yeah.
hey, what do you do for a living? Oh, I do this.
So it was
it gets the
exciting
ball
to
rolling.
know that you could connect with people, whereas now it's horrible.
Well, no, because I mean, let's be frank. Social media has ruined everything.
Yes, 100%.
Like, it's this idea that like, and like, I think back to early Facebook and how it really was just about like listing what you liked, but that's just like in a way that like we love to complain, like the country at large love to complain, especially conservatives love to complain about this idea that's like, well, you can't just like talk. We're like fractured identity politics, all stuff. It's social media. Like that's one of the biggest reasons is social media, and yet everybody from every political party embraces social media at this point.
And there's no nuance anymore. There's no conversation. It's you
Right.
either believe this or you believe that, or that guy's a piece of garbage or he's a hero.
Right.
No one
it's
can
a-
be
it's-
like
it's a
middle
problem.
ground.
You get
No.
milkshake ducks.
Yeah,
That's what you're
yeah,
saying.
because
Yeah,
it's
no,
be-
it is a
because when you have
problem. I
when you
agree.
have 140 characters or whatever, 280, whatever the hell it is now, you have to prove your point, and everybody has to have a point. I mean, just imagine what it would be like if people got on social media and thought, you know what, that's in my head right now. Maybe I don't have to type it out.
I can't tell you.
Maybe
how
I don't
many
have to hit the
times-
send button.
Right.
I actually did that the other day where I was gonna tweet something and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna.
Oh, I do that constantly.
I had a lot of Kobe thoughts, and
literally have,
I
like,
was like, you know
drafts
what?
Where I'm like, should I? And I'm like,
They're
no.
confusing.
Oh, what, Kobe?
Yeah, I was like, I'm just not going to say anything.
Oh, no.
That's a good
I-
idea to just not say anything.
It's like
you
if
know?
I want
I
to talk
was
about
like-
Kobe, I'll talk to Kobe with a live person.
Right. Who's not gonna like?
Yeah, I know
share
some
your shit,
people.
yeah.
As a woman, I have thoughts, but you know
Yeah.
what? I also just don't give a shit.
Right.
I
And
don't
that's
care
okay,
about
and
that.
that's
Well,
your
I think-
right, and that's your right.
I think for me,
Yeah.
it was I was never a Kobe fan.
Same.
I'm not a big basketball fan.
Oh, I love basketball.
But for some reason,
Don't care.
It really, I think it's just like a part of the fabric of America disappearing. That like I was upset by it, not in like a.
Well, he was very.
I was just more
I mean, a lot
upset.
of people died
Yeah.
too.
Oh,
It
well,
was, like,
yeah.
a horrible.
Yeah, of
tragedy.
course. Of course
Yeah,
that-
I mean, his
Teenage
daughter, like
daughter,
a
yeah.
bunch of other people
Yeah,
died.
but you know, if it were just a helicopter full of a family, yes, I would be sad about
Right,
that.
right.
But you know, like,
No.
so
Well,
I'm not
Kobe had a huge
discounting.
impact on
Yeah, I'm
people.
certainly not discounting the other families involved.
Right.
Just it's just like, wow. I think it just reminds you that you're aging, like people,
Right.
right? You know, like I think,
becomes
you're
all
like
of us.
you're headed down that road ish.
I mean,
Well,
it was such a shock. It was
think-
shocking.
Kobe to me seems like, even though he's 2 years older than me, he still seems like this like teenage basketball player
Right.
to me that
Yeah.
like should have been around forever.
Right.
And despite, I don't want to get into the nuance. Like obviously, I do not
I
agree
do not
with.
want to
the-
talk about
yeah,
this.
Yeah.
yeah.
sure.
I wanted
I
to
almost had a
express.
scoop about Kobe,
I
by
fe-
the way, but I can't really. Talk
I wanted
about
to
it 'cause I'm-
express my
Well,
feelings,
let's not.
my strange
A big
feelings,
one
as
when I
like
was
I
in LA.
said, I wasn't a fan. I don't like basketball. I kind of didn't like Kobe at all.
Right.
And then this happened. I was like, oh, that's uncomfortable for me, and I don't know why.
You know what? One thing I do want to say about
Full
Kobe
stop.
That's like
Yeah.
a little bit mean to him. Is that so? His nickname is the Black Mamba, right? Everyone's like, "Oh, Black Mamba, Mamba." He gave himself that
Yeah,
nickname.
he did.
Also,
Everyone forgot that. He literally gave himself that nickname because he never had a nickname. He already has a nickname. His name is Kobe. Okay, you already have a nickname. Your name is Kobe. That's a very unique name. Like, and so everyone just called him Kobe. They didn't call him
Also,
Kobe
is-
Bryant. They just said Kobe.
I thought for sure that was just like some awful old white commentator gave him that name, and I was like, is that racist?
No,
Did they
he
say that?
gave himself
He
that
dubbed
name
himself that.
probably because he watched some like animal documentary about the snake, the black mamba, which is incredibly deadly and super fast and awesome. And he's like, that's me. And then
We'll
he,
also
like,
say
went-
his,
he gave himself the nickname. I remember it distinctly.
His Oscar-winning short was not very good, and I saw all the shorts that year. So
Don't even
that's
get me started. There's so many. I have so many thoughts, but I will
yeah,
say that, like,
yeah.
I think everything around the social media aspect of talking about it, like, if you're just talking
Oh,
about,
I had to leave Twitter for the day because I was just
if
like,
you're just
I
talking
can't do
about
this.
Kobe Bryant, his untimely shock of a death.
It was shocking.
And
It was
people are gonna
definitely
be like,
shocking.
I'm shocked, I'm sad, and then other people are gonna be like, I didn't like Kobe. Kobe, was accused of rape and
Yeah.
and these other things. But we're all allowed to say those things. We all should be allowed to say those things. And what happens with social media is that we police everything on everything.
The thing that bothered me was
and
that
there are aspects
yeah.
that we should do that. But
Yeah.
in the same way, social media, it's so funny because the whole goal of social media is be like, this is free speech, this is all the things. That's not what's happening. That is not the result of social media that we're getting. We're not getting this like free speech zone. And like, I'm starting to sound like an alt-righter, but I'm not, obviously, because you can't say racist stuff and you can't say,
well,
offensive
I think too,
shit,
it's like,
but
you go through the same feelings on social media that you do in real life, where it's like, yeah, you're going to be shocked, you're going to be angry, you're going to go through like these stages of grief, and you're going to act out because of that.
Right.
But it's then you put it on the internet and it's written in ink, and it's like this isn't going away. And I remember somebody I was like, I have to get off Twitter because like
smart.
this is literally making me furious.
Yeah.
Like somebody said like, you know what, you just can't say anything. Like, why don't you bring these thoughts to Twitter when like Bill Clinton or like Ben Roethlisberger dies? And I was like, who said that we were gonna like that we would be like not say anything when they die?
No,
I say shit about Roethlisberger now when he's alive.
It's a shit show because it's like being in a bar, except where maybe if you're in a bar and Kobe Bryant dies and you talk to the person next to you and you're like, I didn't hate that guy. I don't know, you have one person say, oh, this is so sad, and then the other person says, I hated that guy, you know? And then you go, okay, and you just don't talk to each other. Or you have a little argument or something, and then it goes away. And it was like 15 minutes, and then it goes away.
Yeah,
Twitter,
on Twitter, it's like
and social media
thread.
It's permanent. It's permanent. And so everything you say is permanent, and it's just like, I just think that like there are benefits to that, and there are huge detractors to it. And social media, the people who run the companies, don't think about those at all.
Yeah, and people can screenshot it. It's like, even if you later on regret it and delete it, people screenshot it, people remember it. And it's, and that's the thing too, where it's like, I'm not saying that like, oh, you're having a reaction, you're totally justified in having this reaction, you're lashing out, okay, fine. But like, maybe don't.
Well, there's
do those things.
There's like ideas where they're saying like maybe like Twitter and Facebook, they should have like a time limit that's like says like you post something and then it says in 10 minutes this will go up, and if you want to delete it you can, if you want to change it you can, and all these things. And I think that would change a lot of people's like how they post, because they would second guess and they go, wait, do I really want to say this? Do I really want to say this? And
it would also be awesome and kind of defeat the whole purpose to just like kill off commenting.
Oh, 100%. Well,
and it would ruin the business model because it's all about engagement. You sit there and you grind away and you yell at people.
Yep.
But like, okay, you can accomplish the same goal of getting your point out there, and then you don't have to fight with people. And like, you said it, you got it off your. I mean, you could also just say it to a person.
I want to say, if you want to comment on a story, if you want someone to know that you feel something so strongly about something they wrote or published, you know what? Buy a freaking stamp.
Yeah.
Send a letter.
Right. Letter to the editor, email.
That's because these people they know that like.
They don't want to engage.
Yeah. They don't have the effort or the desire.
You just want to go like, oh,
they want a
news,
like.
They
want a quick like for a snappy little comeback. And everybody's been there. Like, it's haha, look at it.
I did it yesterday, the Josh Shapiro, because he said he likes Uncrustables.
It was
like
good, though.
An idiot. and all I said was, this sucks.
You know what? I like that.
I think I like
but
that.
I mean, like, honestly,
a fish.
Honestly, I said that because that was such a. It was clearly just like a funny thing he put up, and there's an understanding of when you can be snarky and when like that kind of engagement is fun, versus like when it's like you like want to start like a war, or like a Twitter war. Over
I've never battled anybody social media. I think early in Trump, like on a friend's comment, somebody popped in and was super pro, and I got into it for like 40 minutes, and then I realized
you can't. It's
you
exhausting.
You always feel bad after.
I was just like, what?
Yeah.
That's why
I wasn't
blocked my
changing
mom.
her mind. She wasn't changing my mind, and I just ended up hating myself and this lady,
It sucks.
and being angry.
Did you know her?
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
that's
You know how
it's like.
Well, yeah, it was just like,
Yeah.
and that's what was so confusing. It was like, you know your friend very well, and then this like person that randomly decided let's be Facebook friends pops into.
Well, what's the worst? The worst is when like my mom did this, which is why I blocked her, because I was like, you can't handle this.
Yeah.
You are not equipped for this. She would comment on stuff that I posted on Facebook back in the day when I I don't post on Facebook anymore. But back in the day when I would post stuff that was like political and she would comment something shitty, and then I think honestly she thought that only I could see it. And then it's like my friends would come in not knowing who she was, or like people that I like was acquaintances with would come in and like start commenting and replying on her, and I was like, no, this is over. We're not doing this. I'm just going to delete this whole thing. We're shutting this down.
And this is the exact thing, and this is the exact problem, is that it sows discord and it sows arguments, and like the only people benefiting from any of this are like the Zuckerbergs of the fucking world. Like they're the only ones, and they could, and like they've created these Goliaths that now are such an integral part of our culture that it would be very hard for them to just totally get rid of them, you know?
Well, and Facebook's just such a mess
I would be
now.
for it, but
it's so messy.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's such a huge part of everything now. Like so many people like put their like basically their websites like on social media for like businesses and for clubs and for like these other things. Yeah. And so it's such a huge part, and the only way to really do it is to police them, but they don't want to be policed because they don't give a shit. And it's just this like really sad state that we live in, and I hope online dating isn't like this at all.
It kind of is, from what I understand. There's some that are. I will say, just a plug. Why Won't You Date Me by Why Won't You Date Me is the podcast of comedian Nicole Byer, and she talks a lot about online dating. I will say, if you want something funny to listen to and also just
don't
to hear
listen
about
to us.
Don't listen to us. Listen to Why Won't You Date Me by Nicole Byer. It's a great, but I will say, if anybody is like, online dating sucks, I just want someone else to talk about it. I mean, it's really great. She has guests on to talk about it.
I'm sure she's probably mentioned it since she's like a professional on it. And I've never had to do it, but I have friends who do it. And it's just like everything digital, this instant gratification thing is like, oh, well, this person looked really good on Tinder and we went out once and I didn't like one thing about them.
Right.
Next.
Right.
Instead of like giving someone a chance, or listening to a full album, or listening to, it's like one song, I liked it, but I'm moving on to the next thing.
Yeah, like, but I feel like people said that about like CDs, like when they first came out, or like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like,
this is very different though. That's an analog.
Saying, like, there's each time there's like an evolution of that where
I think one of the problems is that like we kind of already had a pretty good system of how people like met and dating. We weren't living in a world where people weren't getting together, right? And then we bring in online dating as a way to change that system. But we already had a system in which people were getting together. There wasn't a shortage of people being like, I can't find anybody. People were getting together all the time. They were getting together so much that they ended up getting divorced too much. Like,
and I'm not against statement was not like anti that. Right. I think for people but what I'm for people who it's worked for, I'm very happy for.
Right. But what I'm saying about online dating is that in terms of that Tinder mindset is that it's really just like too many blind dates. Blind dates are really hard, and it usually it's better when you get to know people like through friends or through social acquaintances or through like a gathering, because there's less pressure on you, because you're just kind of like, oh, I'm just going to talk to you for 20 minutes and maybe I find you interesting and then I'm going to go over here and then maybe I want to get your number and then maybe I want to do these things. So it's just like,
also if you've invested your time, say you're at a bar and you've got the guts to go up to somebody, that's huge.
Right.
Yeah.
You've put some work in. You're gonna want to harvest that work a little bit, see where it goes.
Really, get out the
till out. Water the plants.
Get the plow.
This is sounding sexual, and I don't like it.
As it should.
Yeah. No, but here's the thing. But like the way we talk about online dating now is the way people talked about bar culture back in like the 70s.
That's true.
So it is kind of like basically it all goes back to, people aren't like just hooking up with their high school sweetheart and getting married and then that's it. Right. It's kind of like, I think a lot of it comes back to, as much as we want to say like, oh, online dating is terrible and there's like all these things about it. But I think a lot of times it's this idea of like, well, now we have choice and now we can just say, oh, I knew immediately that I didn't like this person and I want to move on, and that's fine. Yeah. I mean, do you want to go back to just being like, I met the love of my life because their locker happened to be next to mine?
But I mean, here's my point is that the results of everything isn't changing. So all that's happening is that we're just evolving through different modes of meeting people, but we should continually evaluate those modes to make sure that there's not any huge negative consequences, right? Because like that's the same with social media. Like there were so many stories out when like especially like targeting millennials and even younger people than millennials, Gen Z, that like they spend all their time on their phone, their social interactions are just on their phone, blah blah, and it's like, yeah, no fucking shit, because they have the access. We have a new playground now. It's not the physical playground, it is hanging out online.
It's a tool.
And like I don't know if that's necessarily good or bad. It's hard for anybody to say definitively, but we should analyze and look at the benefits and the consequences of doing stuff and adjust. But that's like, I'm sure the same thing when they built playgrounds. They're like, oh, those are not safe or something, like whatever. Like,
well, I scroll Twitter almost nonstop during the day, you know. Like,
well, you are a social media person.
Yeah. And I don't engage, but I'm sure there are definitely times where I get off it and I'm just exhausted from what I've read.
Oh, it's exhausting.
And just angry and like it's just a bad news delivery system, and I should know better, but I keep going back, and I'm waiting for that funny joke that makes my day, you know. And then it's like,
boat
then it's buried underneath 300 Adam Schiff tweets, and it's just like, everything sucks.
No.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I've got to get on this tangent.
Yeah, it's a bit of a tangent. Let's
time is it?
Let's try to steer the barge back to
slow barge it.
What else?
10:45.
We have cocktail shake off. Speaking of places to meet people,
shake them.
Do we have a thing about this?
There's got to be an ad on there. Anyway, it's our big event.
Yes.
It's gonna have a ton of great bartenders, and I always say this because
Cocktail
I actually
shake-off.
believe it. Pittsburgh has amazing bartenders.
It does.
We have great cocktails. This city, for a city its size, like, man, there's some good places to get like a relatively cheap, very good cocktail. And so we're bringing them basically all to us into one event. So
the Energy Innovation Center on February 27th.
Yeah.
Get drunk.
What did you say?
Get drunk.
Get drunk. Or don't. We will have.
There's
we
some
will.
mocktails.
Yeah.
There are mocktails, so you can
as well.
You can pretend to get drunk.
I love
you
doing
can trick
that.
people.
I love pretending I'm drunk.
Right. That's probably a good way to meet people for dating. Just saying.
Pretending you're drunk. What
Hi there.
What a weird thing to do, Ryan.
All of my inhibitions are gone.
I'm just normal guy here, no inhibitions at all. Hello.
Oh, sorry.
Look at this great cocktail that definitely has booze in it. It's so delicious.
Sorry, I'm talking so loud. I'm so drunk.
Somehow I'm still very awkward for being such a drunk, funny guy.
This is like that. I love The Lonely Island, and they have a really funny skit in one of their first albums called "Normal Guy." And it's just like, hey, I'm a normal guy here. Just do it. It's so funny. I love it. Take a listen. That's all.
So that's what you're gonna be doing.
Yeah, I'm drinking mocktails. Hey, just normal guy drinking cocktails here. We're all normal, right? And it's like talking like Little Bill or like Mr. Bill or whatever.
Mr. Bill.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. All right. Yeah. So come to the cocktail shake off and act drunk, even though you aren't, on February 27th. Are you going? Are you gonna be there?
Yeah, well, I feel like I have to now, and I gotta get a bunch of mocktails.
We're both gonna be there. We're gonna be.
I'm gonna get drunk
like this.
and act sober.
Yeah.
Try.
This is like Ryan. Let's how you secret.
And I'm like, yes, I love drinking. It's great.
I love you guys. You're all my best friends. I don't usually cry in public.
This is gonna be you and I in the corner, like just like doing this bit over and over again.
Horrible.
Nobody paying attention to us. Sometimes a weird glance from like Lisa being like, "What the fuck are they doing?"
Just amusing ourselves. Do you think Steph would get in on it?
No, she'd hate that.
Okay, so our SOs, our significant others, are gonna be like, let's go go away from these two.
She hates running bits like longer than they should, you know. But I love it.
Oh my god, it's fun. Can I tell you, when I was a freshman in high school, I got a part in the school play because I was the only person who could act drunk. I was the only person who could do the drunk accent. I played Mrs. Deigel in a production of The Bad Seed.
Wow, well done.
Yeah. And I can, to this day, I can still do the drunk accent. Acting.
I still, with two of my best friends, whenever they call and I pick up the phone or we see each other, one lives in Minnesota, one lives in California.
Oh, yeah.
We still go, what that?
Sweet.
And everyone
Jesus.
hates it, and I love it.
Oh, my husband, I cannot tell you how many times my husband and I quote Billy Madison at home. It's really bad. Where I'll just be like, I'll be making something and I'm like,
Kid can't even read. We do that for like everything. Like, oh yeah, kid can't even pour a drink.
Today, Junior.
I'll be making something and I'll be like, I don't know, the soup is kind of sloppy. And Ian will be like, I'll look over and I'll be like, I know you kids like them sloppy.
I do the made them extra sloppy for yous.
It's so bad. It's so stupid. I can't
It's
tell
the
you.
best way to alienate people who you don't really know yet.
Oh my God.
Just like make references all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So many. This is like a special problem with like men
Yeah.
my age. Is they are obsessed with making references and they wonder why like girls and other people like
I may
don't
have
want
never
to-
had a real conversation in high school. It may have just been full references.
To be fair, I feel like everybody's like that in high school. I'm sure me and my friends quoted like whatever favorite SNL sketches we were
Right.
watching at the time.
But I really feel like it's extended into like adulthood for a lot of these men. They're in their like late 20s and they're still just like
Oh my God.
quoting Archer for like half an hour.
Can I tell you, I had
and
a-
it's like, dude, no one wants to talk to you. Like, unless they know Archer as well as you, you're alienating everybody.
I had a boss. He was like the cartoon version of a middle manager.
Uh-huh.
Like he would wear like mock turtlenecks, pleated pants. He would carry a golf club around the office.
Oh,
I'm not joking.
Wow.
He would quote, I honestly don't think he had seen a movie after like 1992. He would quote Blues Brothers. He would quote, he would quote like
Where's
Fletch.
the fart? We need the fart sound.
I love
He would
Fletch.
quote-
We need the fart sound.
But I mean, it was like, that's all he did. This was a man with 2 children.
Okay, so maybe this isn't
And it's
maybe
like-
this isn't a newer thing than I thought.
He
it
was the
It's just a
absolute worst.
I gotta say, fellas, dudes out there, if you're listening, we suck sometimes. And
Read a book.
Like seriously, this is not helping our cause ever. I realized that.
I'd be like, I'm quoting Miss Havisham from Great Expectations.
oh, she was a wild gal.
She
As
was psychopath,
Dostoevsky
yeah.
once wrote.
I just remember this is like, it's actually, I feel like this relates to online dating because this is like, again, this is more like pre-online dating, at least for like my experience. And I was at a dinner with friends and so my friend and one of his friends, like literally for the entire dinner, there were like 8 people there.
Okay.
Just made references to the show Archer back and forth, and they kept laughing. And I loved Archer, and I also was laughing for like the first like 10 minutes. And then I realized, I looked around, and every other person there, especially the women, were just like, their face was basically like, I'm so fucking bored.
That's
I'm
awful.
so goddamn bored.
That's so
and I'm
awful.
like, it was like this moment in my mind when I was like, don't do that. Like, stop. Like, you need to stop. You need to engage people and talk about things that are interesting
like,
to a broad swath of people.
You do not have to quote Step Brothers right now.
No. Oh my God.
You can talk about things that aren't Step Brothers.
I feel like there's a correlation between like incels and the alt-right, that they think that like, oh, I just should be able to do this, and they go, why don't women date me? And it's like, no fucking shit, man. That's why. That's the literal reason why. You continuing to quote Step Brothers to your friends and laughing is not entertaining, except to people exactly like you who are just dudes who like Step Brothers, Like,
which are a lot of dudes.
Yes.
A lot of dudes.
So, if you're a gay man who loves Step Brothers, great. But I mean, like,
if you're a gay man who loves Step Brothers, what?
well, in terms of dating, and having encounters.
Wouldn't that be lovely?
Yeah,
if that's how
could all
you
just-
connected with your SO,
yeah.
that would be really nice.
But that's probably a small minority of people in America. So
I would love to meet a couple where it's like, how did you guys meet? Well,
we both love Step Brothers.
he quoted Step Brothers, and I was like, "Do
Are we
you
gonna
like?"
be best friends? Yeah.
And then 10 years later, here we are. I would. Somebody
This is the
please
most
have the
off the
story.
rails podcast in the history of the
Why
world.
did Lisa let us do
Yeah.
this? What have we even talked
Mistake.
about? We
Yeah.
were talking about.
Well, we talked about the winter guide. How
cocktail
great it is.
shake-off.
Yeah.
I feel drunk. I honestly feel like this is so crazy. What time is it?
I think it's time to wrap it up.
I think it is.
Let's shut her down.
Yeah.
Let's shut it down.
Let's go look for some more barges.
Check out the City Paper Twitter account, even though we all hate social media, but check it out because Josh's going to have a sweet ass barge post. We're talking record-breaking barge.
Barge. Guys. Barge Watch 2020.
Big, beautiful barge.
Yeah. We also have great stories about lots of cool stuff going on.
Not barge related.
Not barge related.
But
one, fracking. If you like fracking like me or hate it like me or not.
Yeah. You like it because of the content that you're able to generate from it.
We got some good stuff.
We got good stuff. We got lots of arts reporting, lots of news. So good.
Next restaurants closing, opening. Get it.
Get it.
Yeah.
Get at it.
See you next Friday.
Bye.
Oh my gosh. Shit.